Okay, and welcome to the third Excel lesson. This one's quite a good one. We've got how to use formulas in here, and you can see I've started doing the test 1 and test 2 percentages. When you select that first cell, you want to start by clicking equals. Then you want to select the cell, which comes up as A7, and then hit divide 52. Scroll it down from the bottom right. Here we go. Just as we did in the previous one. So hit it, scroll it down, and all your numbers will appear. Now you can see the percentages aren't really percentages at the moment, the decimals, so you want to select the percentage button, which will convert them. You can choose the accuracy using these left and right arrows. You can see we could put them as 1%. The best test, if you want to put this in, you want to use the if statement. If this one, which comes up as C7, is bigger than D7, the value which we want, if that's true, is test 1. These need to be in speech marks as their text, and test 2, and close the bracket. That is what it should look like. Pause the video if you didn't quite get all of that. We're scrolling it down from the bottom right of the cell again. Let's have a look at the tax. Very similar. You always hit equals when you're doing formulas. Select the cell, adding 5% is timesing by 1.05. Okay, looks like it was 1.07 there. I've added 7%. It should have been 1.05. Okay, so it will be very, very similar with the profit. Ensure you make sure you use the rounding to get those money values to just 2 decimal places. Here's the substituting formula. Hit equals again. The power button in Excel is the little hat symbol. You will see that near the number 6. So I'm doing hat 3, which means to the power of 3, minus 2. In Algebra 2 BC is multiplied, so you must put in the multiplied. So it's 2 multiplied by B. Select that number, and C7. You can see everything's color-coded. When you scroll that down, it's going to repeat it, but what you want to do is you want to just double check that's worked. Here we go. 3 to the power of 3 is 27. Minus 2 times, well, B is 0, so that's 0. So it's 27 plus 5, which is 32. So the top one was correct. Okay. I'm not going to do the powers of 3. I'm actually going to do just powers of 2 as my example. You'll need to do your powers of 3. The way I'm going to do that is I'm going to set out a table which includes an n and a 2 to the power of n. Now you can't really format very well in Excel. So if you want to write a 2 and a little n in the top right, you need to insert an equation. And you can put those numbers in 2 to the power of n there. You don't have to do that. I've just decided to nicely format it like that. Now my n values are going to go from minus 10 up to 10. Again, you don't need to type all those in manually, just do the first few and use that little black cross in the bottom right to continue the pattern all the way down to 10, as you can see. Okay, for my 2 to the power of, I need to start equals with the formula, I need to do the little hat, and I need to select that minus 10. That puts the formula in, which I can repeat. And you can easily check, 2 to the power of 4 there was 16, 2 to the power of 5 was 32. Okay, on to the plotting of the straight line equations. Just as in if you were doing this manually, you need a table. That table contains x and y. Our x values, I'm going to choose, we're going to do between minus 6 up to 6. I'd stick with this rule for all of yours questions as well. It will make the graph large enough to fit everything on. Okay, so I was just inserting a few rows there because I'd run out of space, but this is going to go from minus 6 to 6. Hitting equal, we need to do the formula as always. Hit equals, minus 5 times, select that cell A9, and put plus 4, scroll it down to repeat that. These are all your y values. We now need to do this. You do not want to do a line chart, as you know, that makes sense. Excel sometimes doesn't make sense. Therefore, we click on a scatter graph, but it's the version that has all the dots connected. Now you can see instantly this chart's come up. I've given it the title of minus 5x plus 4. But the problem is, you know, our axes are not very suitable for reading off values. So I've formatted the axes here to give these, you know, between 1 on the x-axis and other divisions on the y-axis. Now it may seem a little bit small, especially as I've given units on the y-axis there. So you may want to actually right-click and move this chart to another sheet. Now that's going to make it a lot easier to read, and maybe if you want to print this off later, things are just going to be less cluttered on your page. So moving on to how to put two line graphs on a single axis. Now what we need to do is a table again. I'm only going to use one x value and both y values. I decided to put y1 and y2 here, but I think it's probably better just to actually copy the actual names of the graphs in. So we've got the x values, the first graph there, and the second graph. Again, I'm going to do it between -6 and 6. And I'm going to click on the cell, hit equals, and put the formula in just as I did before. And the same for the second, equals -2 times x plus 4. Always remember to put the times in as the little star. Now I've got all of the values here, I can actually select them all together, and in fact I can include the headings as well. Going into insert, the same thing, scatter graph, not line graph, and connecting it with lines, I get this. Now this is also automatically labeled up which line is which. I'm just going to label this up as question 3. And the further question was to read off the intersection point. That's where they cross. Now, to do that, I need it a little bit larger, so I've moved it to another sheet here. There's no grid lines on here at the moment, so you know, even if I zoom in, it's very hard to read off. What I need to do then is just to put more grid lines in. Now to do that, I can go into the design on chart tools. If you look at the green thing at the top, design, under chart tools, I can select a different design which is going to include more divisions, so it's going to look similar to graph paper. Now this, along with adjusting some of the values on the axes, will help me get a fairly good read off if I zoom in here. Now we can see reading off along the x-axis, it comes to about 1.6 or 1.7 there, and reading up from there we can see it comes to 0.5, so it's 1.7 along, 0.5 upwards, and that's what I'm going to write as the answer to where they cross. Okay, so thank you for this, listening to this tutorial, and if I make another one, I'll see you.